Alright, I'm very happy to bring you this series of matches. Both of these took place at the Miami Open. First one was in 2014 at brown belt, you're about to see here. Second one was 2016, that one was at black belt. So this guy has a shorter build, very stocky, very strong, pulls half guard, and we immediately start working through the knee shield position here. So if you've been watching my breakdown videos, this position is going to seem pretty familiar. I'm using the weave pass to get through his knee shield guard. So what you'll see is my right hand is controlling his bottom leg. I've got a right grip on his pants, and I'm punching that leg through so he can't bring it back to help, and that's a great grip. I'm not crazy about my left hand grip. I'm using my left hand on the collar to pull in and create pressure. I'm also using my head on his right shoulder to try to keep him flat. And keeping the person flat here is the most important thing if you want to have an effective pass. If I just shifted that left hand from his collar to his bottom sleeve, I could pull that sleeve up off the mat and I could keep him totally flat, but instead what you'll see is he'll have an opportunity to hide his bottom elbow, belly down, and do an inversion, and I'm still dealing with his guard after that. So we make a nice transition to the stack pass position, both arms outside the guard, cross collar grip, and knees folded toward the face. Big pressure here. So I had a good chance to pass here, but one little mistake allowed him to roll through and counter my movement. Check this out. So ideally in this position, I'd bring my left knee over his arm and pin it down to the floor. You see, he's using that grip to keep me from advancing my position and advancing my hip on the left side. But it really would have been nothing for me just to walk that knee over his bicep, and I wish I'd have done that. So instead, he'll pendulum that left leg forward and backward. He'll use the momentum of me pushing in to execute a back roll over his left shoulder and create a new scramble.
You got another advantage.
Alright, close guard position. So in a minute here, you're going to see what becomes a pretty central part of not just this match, but our second match as well. This log splitter pass that I'm attempting here with my left knee up the middle. He had short, stocky legs, were really strong, but in this case I managed to open them up and try to cut my left knee through. Cross grip on my left sleeve is clearly giving me some trouble here because I can't stuff that leg down. It's still sort of prohibiting me from cutting through. And in both matches, you'll really see me struggle when he gets these double sleeve grips. It's just hard for me to do anything the way that he's pulling them in. I can't get any good grips.
There you go.
Very soon you'll see that we're going to move back to that weave pass position. You can see my right arm weaving through the legs, blocking the bottom leg from getting back into the mix. But I'm fairly certain that when we make the turn here, you're going to see the same mistake that I made before. My left hand is not going to be on his sleeve where I feel like it should be. It's going to be pulling on that collar, and then I think again he's just going to have an opportunity to sort of arch away from me a bit and move back to a better guard position than he's in right now. So I stand up to execute a pass here, and this is pretty interesting. He drops down and he hooks my leg with his left arm. His goal here is to execute a waiter sweep, which means he's going to pull that leg in and he's going to bridge up and toward that side, the left side, in an attempt to knock me over and sweep me toward that side. I've got both arms free here, so what I should have done is passed his sleeve from my left hand to my right and then used my left hand to push his knee open as I took a big step back with my left leg. And what that would do is free up my left hand to start pushing and opening up his guard while stepping away from the sweep with my left leg. So as you can see, I try to step away from the sweep with my left leg, but his guard remains closed, and even though I avoid the sweep, I'm right back where I was before. So get ready for that log splitter pass from the closed guard again. I'm going to pop up, insert that left knee, take a seat, but this time his guard does not open up. Now if you're looking at that sweep wondering how the hell it is that I went over, we're going to rewind this in slow-mo and break it down. So right now his guard is closed and his legs are very short and strong, which means my left leg is totally cinched. I can't take a single tiny step to my left side right now. Now this wouldn't have been so bad, but he was tying up my left sleeve as well. So when he shifts to his right, I can't post with my left arm and I can't post with my left leg, so I just sort of effortlessly tip over. I think I could have avoided this problem by putting my right hand on the floor, moving my hips back and driving my left shin into his groin, and that would probably have opened his guard up.
John, you gotta get that back. John, we need a sweep here. You gotta sweep back.
So right now he's trying to use the over-under position to pass. I have a lot of guys at my gym who do this really well, so not a stranger to this position. I felt like I was keeping him at bay, but also getting fairly worn down in the process.
Come on, John.
I'm going to find a frame in his face here, create a little room to attempt a straight arm lock. Really not trying to finish that submission, but more trying to create some space to get back to a better guard position. Now I'm on my side a little more, and I eventually am able to create some space and get back to a better guard position.
Ei, segura a perna de baixo dele, não deixa ele levantar não.
I don't have time. John, it's gotta be a minute. It's gotta be a minute or less. Let's go.
Eventually I'm going to make my way to De La Riva guard here with some decent attempts to stretch and sit up, and I will find my way up on a single leg sweep. So in this freeze frame, you can see why it's so important to be really good at something as simple as a technical stand-up. That is exactly the base that I've got right now. My left hand is on the mat, my right foot is about to find the mat for support, and I'm going to come up on my single leg. So this is the moment he tries to disengage from the single leg. I actually think he would have had better luck taking that right knee, driving it into my chest, and putting me back on the floor.
Come up on it. Finish it. Beautiful. Now hold it. You gotta hold it. That's two. All right. Stay steady. Beautiful.
Calão. Calão. Presta atenção, Calão. Tem 2 minutos para raspar, tá? 2 minutos.
Stay heavy, John. No sweeps here. Stay heavy.
Isso.
All right, you're in a good spot.
Começa a atacar o braço dele aí. Começa. One last sweep and it's yours.
Come on, John. Gotta keep a good base.
So with the closed guard open here, I have an opportunity to stand up, but he's on both of my sleeves. He sinks that left De La Riva hook. And again, I just can't emphasize enough how incredibly stifling this was, not just in this match, but in the next match. So him and I really are just gridlocked here. I've got a good base, he's got a really tough guard to pass, and we're both stifled. Right here he executes one of my favorite attacks, using the cross collar guard to raise the hips and attack the omoplata on the sleeve side. I did a good job stepping over the body, but when you do that you have to explosively posture up in order to counter that movement. I didn't do that, and so he got the sweep.
John, you gotta sweep back.
Oh, no. Olha pro cara, filha da puta.
John, we need to sweep back. 10 seconds. Let's go. Everything right now.
So I'm going to get to that technical standing base again. I build to my left hand. I try to wrestle up, but he stays on me. He keeps the pressure. I try back rolling for a series of knee bar and toe hold attempts, but it's just too little too late, and I end up losing this match by 2. Alright, so 2 years later we got to do it again. This was the 2016 Miami Open. Now both of us black belts. in the adult lightweight division. So you'll see a few things repeat themselves. He pulls half guard again to start the match, and then is also on those double sleeve grips again. Right here he's got both. And once again in this match we get into some real stale periods where he's got great sleeve control, and he's also trying to sweep me overhead, which was something new that he wasn't doing in the last match. So right now he's controlling both of my sleeves, which means I can't stuff the foot down on the left side between my legs, and I can't help defeat his De La Hiva hook with my right hand, except for right there. So just for a moment he shifts his left hand down to my ankle, which is a more traditional De La Hiva guard grip rather than the sleeve. And that gave me a moment where I could have used my right hand to stuff that shin down and finish defeating that De La Hiva hook. Several years ago I preferred keeping that right hand anchored to the collar because I felt I could generate more downward pressure on my opponent, but definitely don't have the versatility of using the right hand to just finish popping that hook out. In a moment here I'm going to save you some boredom and just fast forward through what is just several minutes of more of the same here. Alright, so here comes our old friend, the log splitter pass from the previous match. I get the knee up the middle, and then you'll see, I remember what happened last time, so I'm leaning pretty hard to my right side, and he's actively trying to tip me to his right side.
Watch your left.
And if you can hear my corner, Dan Sweeney, shout out to DPS Breakdowns, he's calling for me to watch that sweep to my left as well.
Once it opens, let's go.
So eventually the pressure of that log splitter pops the guard open. I start knifing my left knee through. Pretty heavy forward pressure here. So he uses some tricky guard work here to stretch me out and try to come up on a single leg. I managed to keep my base by putting my right hand on the mat and using that as a pivot point to drive my left knee square to his chest and then back toward the floor instead of disengaging. Next I'm going to punch that right underhook. You'll see it come through under his armpit right here. And that helps as I drive him down to keep him flat on his back. Kills the power of the sweep.
Nice underhook, John. Yeah, keep that sleeve.
So I'm passing the half guard position again. This time I do manage to grab that bottom sleeve and pull it up off the mat. Try to go into my weave pass, but he pulls his left knee and then his right knee right in front of me, and now we're in close guard.
Do it again. Same thing as last time. There you go. Plenty of space for that knee. Yep.
So here we are again in that log splitter position. Got my knee up the middle, feel like I have a good base, but it just takes a moment of complacency, and he's got the same sweep again. So the good news is, this time around I had much better tools to deal with him once he got on top, because I make a seamless transition to single leg X. I bridge over my right hip, not to sweep him, but to make him take a step out to the side, and then I can underhook that leg and hit an even more powerful off-balancing sweep to that side. We'll roll that back. So you see I'll bridge to the right, he takes that big step out to the side, and I can hook my right arm under his leg because of that. He tries to hold my collar for some stability, but once I start to punch his foot up toward my ear and bridge again to my right, the sweep has so much power it's really difficult to stop, and he goes over. So it's hard to see, but I've got my right arm hooked around his calf muscle, which is preventing him from totally straightening out his left leg. And because I have that right hand around his calf, you can see I sneak my left hand to his heel, which allows me to fully hyperextend that leg for the knee bar.
Nice, you got it.